Hi, I'm James Moran, one of the co-hosts of Celtic Ligers. I have a podcast called and I have a show coming up on the 13th of October in the Pearse Centre, 7:30.
A stand-up comedy show.
In Dublin. Stand-up comedy show. And you can buy tickets on my Instagram, or you can probably buy tickets on the door. Not going to get turned away. If you're around, drop by.
You don't say that. You say, selling fast, not many left. Get them while you can.
Well, that's also true. But there'll be a limited number available at the door.
Yeah.
But to avoid disappointment,
Yes.
book online.
Celtic Ligers.
Recorded 8th of October 2025.
Yeah. So what I was saying before I was so
Dino's
rudely
mixtape.
interrupted, Dino's mixtape. I was just talking about how Ireland's view of itself post-recession, an immediate post-recession, where it's like everybody acknowledges now that austerity sucks. That's why they're trying to enact it without calling it austerity. Okay, You don't have any investment or anything like that. But what happens is, mummy knows best. The state has to make hard decisions, and that's why you can't have nice things like, I don't know, fucking welfare or like stuff
Tamagotchi.
things that take care of people, you know, and it's the Varadkarian logic as well, where he appeared before those referenda last year, where he goes, I don't think it's the state's responsibility to take care of anyone, and basically the vote says I disagree. Okay, so but I just wanted to bring up, we watched a clip of Barry Murphy playing his classic character Gunther.
And she wanted to give you a very simple analogy for where Ireland stands in the Eurozone, in the picture. So, for example, what she said was, at the moment, Europe in the Eurozone is like a train driving into the future towards China. Obviously. And driving the train is who? Germany. Of course, Germany's driving the train. So Germany's driving the train, and France, in this context, France would be the ticket inspector. Okay. He looks important, he's dressed very well. Essentially, he's punching holes in things, and he's no access to the moolah.
Okay.
Essentially, he's doing Germany's bidding. He doesn't know. He thinks he's involved and officious, but he's not. So France would be the ticket inspector. Spain would be the fellow sitting down in the chair, staring out the window, pretending he's paid for his ticket, when everyone on the train knows he has not. He's trying to avoid France's gaze. And Italy would be the fellow hiding under Spain's chair, trying to avoid detection by urinating into an empty Lucozade bottle. And Switzerland would be the fellow at the front of the train who can talk to everyone on the train in their own language, but chooses not to. He prefers to sit there eating his pheasant or widgeon in a Ferrero Rocher jus, and then occasionally turns around and opens the curtain and goes like that to everyone else on the train, and then carries on with his business.
And Ireland?
Ireland would be the fellow stinking of cigarettes and scoops, coming back from the toilet, trying to find his seat. He can't get there because England's in the way. England is the fellow with the trolley, with his own little microeconomy. He's moving along, thinking that he's not going to the same place that the train is going. But let me tell you, England is going to the same place that the train is going. And finally, Greece would be the fellow hanging on to the back of the train, in the nip, with an ice cream in one hand and his Mickey in the other, singing some crazy nonsense that nobody understands. And France goes back and says, Greece, come on, get on the train, you catch your death of cold. And Greece is saying, shut up, you sound just like my mother. I'm staying here. And France calls Germany. Germany has to come from the front of the train all the way down, get out of the way, England, and come to the back of the train. Come with me, England, Spain, everyone's there. Come on, Greece, get on the train. Climb aboard. We need you. You're better on the train. And while this kerfuffle is happening, Ireland seizes the opportunity to steal all the egg sandwiches from the trolley that's left in the middle of the train. That's who you are.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Who appeared on the Late Late Show and had all of the leafy suburbs, South Dubliners laughing. That's what they're like. All the countries are like that.
No, the Late Late Show audience is full of gone beans from the country who come up for the day.
Yeah, whatever.
And also, you know, they're like, their one trip to Dublin in their entire life.
They're spiritually from South Dublin. That's what they are.
No.
They're all property owning assholes who think that negative
No,
equity
they're
is the worst thing that's ever happened.
They're spiritually from Salt Hill in Galway.
Salt Hill is an affluent part of Galway. It's very rich.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's different.
No, I'm saying that their
Different
class interests align. So they're all having a big old laugh and they're like, we're not like all those other ignorant countries. We're the poor person who we had to pay more than our fair share. But then one of the things that he's describing all the different countries and how they'd be like on the train. And one of them was Greece. And Greece is like this pathetic case who just won't accept the help from the French. And I was like, you know, you're here saying that like Germany rinsed us and also talking about like, you clearly, austerity is like biting at everybody, even the middle classes. Okay. And yet you have the audacity to be like, the Greeks though, they don't understand that it's best for them to just do what the EU says. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
Yeah. I know. I think I liked when Catherine Connolly said that Germany shouldn't be allowed
Live.
I think she had a really good point there. It just I don't think she went far enough, you know, to be honest with you.
In case Lexi Alexander is listening in case Lexi Alexander is listening to this podcast, I'm going to insert the clip of Vincent Browne talking to that condescending German man who came over. I always love that one. Like,
I don't know that one.
You know that one where Vincent Browne, so there's some German guy who's come over from like Troika or whatever the fuck, and he's going to like, you German, you know, you Irish are very intelligent and well spoken about this. And I was in a car with a taxi driver recently who said, you know, that clip where he goes,
get it up.
Okay, fine, I get it up. But then, like,
I didn't say do it.
Okay,
I said get it
But
up.
when people hear it, they're going to be like, Gareth, another impression in the back. How my ego is like, my ego is radioactive because of how people have said that some of my impressions are all right. I'm like, oh. And so every single time
you're no Barry Murphy, man.
No.
Get too big here.
Say what was right, Shay?
That was really bad.
Zainab said it was really bad and she's really wrong. Yeah, but she's also like really hurt my feelings, but whatever.
Because they all sound Israeli.
I can't help if they sound Israeli. I wonder why all of my impressions of white Europeans sound Israeli. I wonder why. I've just typed in Vincent Browne German. That's not really taxi, maybe? Yeah. Klaus Masuk. Isn't it? Masuk.
You couldn't write it, man. You couldn't make it up.
It's 5 minutes long. We watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
By the way, also from 2012.
So timely as ever.
No, like Barry Murphy's sketch that we watched, where he's on Ryan Tuberty. Okay, sorry.
He made a reference to a horse outside.
Oh my god, that is one of those, again, it's an Irish dad sort of joke, because basically he says limerick and then naturally somebody in the audience cheers and he goes, yes, fuck your county, I have a country outside. And then it's like, that doesn't mean anything. That's like, as your friend Homer Simpson would say, ay carumba, you know.
That's why it's good. That's, you know.
Have I said this a million times on the podcast where my dad will go, oh, it's like Hotel California, you can check out anytime but you can never leave, and he just says that in relation to literally anything if he's not been paying attention.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's a great one.
You know, it's the way Irish people, and there's some comedy for people at home, they have all those things. You just say something to fill the void, like, you know, you know yourself.
Yeah.
But then your dad's version of that, instead of going like, it is what it is. It's like Hotel California.
Yeah.
You can check in, what is it?
You can check out any time, but you can never leave. He said something very funny
at a funeral.
There was a time.
He's like, someone's, instead of going like, he's in a better place.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Hotel California.
Yeah, you can check. He, one time, this is going to be a hard one to explain, but like we found out that one of our friends' grandmothers was like 100, And so we're just like, I can't believe Ellie is 100. And he goes, years of age. I don't know why that always got me. Just like, not like as an example of just saying something for the sake of saying something, you know?
Yeah, years of age. That's a good one. Because it sounds poetic. And then you realise he's just saying the phrase.
Doesn't mean anything. I love that. There's a bit in The Simpsons as well, from a not very good season. You know the Halloween special where Lisa says something like, "Behold the wonders of man," because they're about these machines all messing up, and then Homer goes, "Wonders, Lisa, or blunders?" I think that was implied by what I said. Implied, Lisa, or implode? You know?
Yeah. I like the one in The Simpsons where they're at the horror park thing.
Yeah.
They go to the haunted house. You know, it's like 10 men in horror. And they go through, this is like the spring coming out of the coffin. And then they just walk by this old woman and it's like, behold the ravages of age.
Yeah. That was so funny.
That's my favourite line of The Simpsons.
I was thinking about, did I mention this before, where like the certain deliveries that stick in your head? Sometimes people periodically post that. What are the deliveries that stick in your head? Well, the one for me is obviously there was an episode where Miss Krabappel's car breaks down and she takes it to the petrol station and the guy goes, "Bingo bango, sugar in the gas tank, your ex-husband strikes again." And I love that delivery. But the other one I was reminded of was when Homer, it's at the flashback where Bart is being born. So Marge is in the hospital, and Homer runs to the house, and he goes, he's like, "She's at the hospital." Marge goes, Marge's mother says, "She's at the hospital. I'll take you there." "Thanks, Mom. Don't ever call me that."
I thought you were going to do the bit where it's like, it's a boy, and what a boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the umbilical cord. It's a girl.
Yeah. Marge's mom was a legend. I think she's...
I love Marge, very funny character.
I know her doppelganger.
Her doppelganger?
That's the umbilical cord. What?
Yeah.
Her doppelganger, who was like, can I come too? You know?
Yeah.
I remember
I was going to say,
screaming, laughing at that. Because we used to always have to go to mass when The Simpsons was on. So my dad would record it on a video. So he had it on the video, and then just rewinding it and playing. Can I come too?
The one we replayed all the time was when he when he dismounted on what was later revealed to be a broken ankle, and then the guy lands and he's like, his head is just like, and I'm trying to remember now. Anyway, whatever. I was going to say, did you see that there's going to be a Simpsons sequel movie coming out?
I did. There was an Irish character in the last Simpsons movie.
There was.
The boy.
And I used to love when the Irish appeared in The Simpsons, especially when they were doing like 1930s era anti-Irish racism. I've always found that hilarious. Because I was going to say that the clip I watch every week, at least once a week, I swear to God, is the one where Mr. Burns just keeps laughing, and then he goes like, "Why was I laughing again?" And he goes, "Oh yes, the crippled Irishman." But it's eventually when "Oh, Master Burns."
Yeah. Yeah, his dad owned the atom smashing factory.
Yeah, who will provide for me, little ones?
Yeah, where he like turns the pocket inside out. He's like, takes out the magnifying glass. He's like, 7 atoms.
Oh god. I really don't want there to be a second Simpsons movie at all.
I do. I want to see how bad it gets.
Well, yeah, it'll get bad, obviously. But what happens is I will go see it, and I'll have to hear Julie Kavner's voice as Marge Simpson, which I really...
It's wild that she is still playing Marge. Like, that's...
elder abuse.
How old is she?
I think she's like in her 70s, maybe 80s.
I don't think it's out. I guarantee you, like, there's no way she comes into studio. They just ring her on her phone and she's like, you know, Homer.
Homer.
And, what is she saying?
I'm saying my impressions aren't good. Fuck this. She's 75.
75 years of age.
of age.
Get her. I just want to. I know we're watching Vincent Browne. I just want to hear what modern Marge.
I wish I. What's the one where we're putting on a musical? Remember that one?
I don't know. No.
My computer, for some reason, is so shit that it's like stuttering now as I'm sharing stuff.
I see why you've been watching now.
No,
Simpsons movie trailer.
no, don't be. Or we can. It's from Peacock, which is the NBC streaming service.
What is that? I need to see that after.
Which?
The Kiarta by Kneecap cover by Mank and Mang. I need to see that.
All right. There's a young Simon Amstel.
Your algorithm's so much better than mine. You should be able to sell your algorithms to people.
Some of the ones that I have are now I get all this kind of. I started following this guy who does, what are they called? Basically, he talks about like movies that were never made, you know, but he has the same delivery for every single sentence that he speaks, which is a very bizarre delivery as well. Because it'll be like, what if Morbius was an entirely different movie? Well, it almost was. Originally, Jared Leto was going to be played by such and such.
I love those
but then,
guys.
you know,
yeah,
it's awful.
Such a type.
Yeah.
I ones that are like, and I like these ones. It's like going through a computer game and like deconstructing all the assets, and it's like, you know, you can see on the back of this model that there's this image, so this might imply that this was going to be part of the storyline. That sort of thing. I love that stuff.
Maybe if I look up Simpsons.
Oh yeah, that's a good episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah, they put the spring in Springfield. I just put in Simpsons trailer and it gave me AI slop trailer of. But I've watched it, so that's not good. This one is from 2 years ago, but
I don't think they've released a trailer, have they?
No, not for the movie. But what I'm saying is they release a trailer for the episode. So if I get a trailer, then we can hear Marge's voice.
Oh yeah.
Simpsons season 36 couch gags. Somebody has Simpsons voices then versus now. That'll be a good one, yeah? Surely that will have what we crave.
If truth be known, I actually caused more accidents around here than any other employee. Or even a few doozies no one ever found out about.
Yeah, but if I may pose a counter-argument, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, Bart, you're supposed to be developing verbal abilities for your big aptitude test tomorrow. Right now, my friends and I are binging this show from the golden age of television, 2013.
There's only one thing we can do. Take advantage of the old guy. You gotta sign my report card, Dad.
If you're telling us all this, who's flipping the pancakes?
Oh, very different.
I don't want to alarm anyone, but I think there's a little alcohol in this punch. It's now in the permanent court record that I married a buffoon. It was stipulated by all parties.
What's the matter, huh? Bloodiest fight of the year. You're sitting there like a thirsty bump on a log.
And nobody could put a cigarette out on the back of your neck like Baba Branca.
They had a stronger accent back in the day. You know, like all the kids are like stoner accents. How much do they get per episode, I wonder?
They get an obscene amount, I've heard. I think like what I would love from a sequel movie is for this movie we're going to replace the whole voice cast.
Yeah.
Just do a big swing for this one.
No. Yeah. I just want to say, I wouldn't like that. I'm just trying to figure out how much they are. They get 300,000
an episode.
Yeah.
Good God.
There's obviously a hell of a lot, but in my head I was like, they've only got like 2 million. You know what I mean? I was like, it's a lot of money, obviously.
Well, the guys and Friends got 1 million per episode each.
Yeah, I think it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They fired
Matt
Alf.
Stone gets.
Yeah.
They fired Alf.
Alf Clausen, who's now dead. He was the guy who did the music for The Simpsons. Like he did the arrangements. Probably the one that I liked the most that he did was the you know, the one where Homer's in Chocolate Land, the land of chocolate.
Oh yeah.
You know, that sort of all of that shit. And he does the.
We're from the land.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
Germans from the land of chocolate.
Speaking of Germans, we should go back now to that would be a nice segue. But unfortunately, I'm not done talking about Alf Clausen, who was like, they basically said, oh no, he was just an old stiff and he kind of couldn't perform all the music that we wanted him to perform. So just because it was too expensive, they just fired him to get somebody cheaper, you know? And
Really?
He had an elder abuse claim, or like, sorry, not elder abuse, but like discrimination practice, you know? He had some lawsuit against them. I'm not sure whether he lost or it was settled or what happened, but either way, he's dead now. He died like earlier this year or late last year, I think. And I always find that sort of tragic, where it's like the spirit of the show was like, when they started that intro, they were like, oh, we want it to be like the Flintstones, or like one of those shows where it's like all the family is coming home and it's like they're going to sit down around the couch and watch it. And, you know, all the people, so like, you know, you have the people who wanted it to be crazy and mad, and then you had the old sitcom people who were on Cheers who were like, no, it should be more restrained and down to earth. And there's that kind of like struggle between all of that and kind of, you know, Matt Groening's position in the counterculture in LA at that time, which kind of creates this show. And then it's like, it's Disney's plus anniversary, you know, like, and then it's like, just like removing the guy who created the music that's so iconic for the show. And because like I know Danny Elfman made the intro, but all of the other music, like Gentle Ben, or like the kind of music that's like for like Please Stand By, you know, boom, manum, you know, that sort of stuff.
It's a chromatic tune.
Yeah.
And it uses all the notes of the scale.
Yeah.
Of the octave or whatever.
Yeah.
It's unusual.
Yeah. Just Lexi Alexandra, if she's listening, she doesn't have to. She's probably not. Just being like, when are you going to get to that German clip you threatened like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
He asked a question of the three people, any appreciation of how the Irish public had responded to their presence here and to the rigours of the bailout deal. And Klaus answered the question in the following way.
The attitude, as far as I can see or judge, and this is of course I have only a limited perspective, is very good. I'm impressed by the depth of the discussion in Ireland and the understanding of complex economic financial sector issues, which is revealed by looking into the Irish press, looking into the discussion, but also when I come from the airport with a taxi driver, they are often very well informed, I must say, very well informed. So I think that is a good sign that here we have an open discussion. It's a difficult adjustment process, but there is an open debate, and there's a debate where economic arguments play an important role, and I think that is how it should be.
I thought I'd ask him a little more about his conversations with the taxi driver. Let's have a look. Klaus Manisch, did your taxi driver tell you how the Irish people are bewildered that we are required to pay unguaranteed bondholders billions of euros for debts that the Irish people have no relation to or no bearing with, primarily to bail out or to ensure the solvency of European banks? And if your taxi driver asked you that question, or if the taxi driver had asked you that question, what would have been your response? That's my first question.
Well, can we take it? We take a couple together. Can you ask the second question?
Well, my second question is a completely different issue, and I may have a follow-through if Mr. Masters doesn't answer the question in a way that would illuminate the taxi driver's understanding of all this. I would have a follow-through question.
Right. Can I ask you then to pass the mic, and we come back to you for the second question?
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, that's a way of breaking up the exchange, and I would prefer if it went this way. We have a tradition in Irish journalism that we pursue issues, and that when somebody doesn't ask a question, we follow through on it. And I hope that tradition will be respected on this occasion. So, could you answer the question? Answer the question.
Yeah.
Mr. Vincent, I have answered a very similar question of you. I think it was 2 reviews ago.
You addressed the question. You addressed the question previously.
I addressed the question. Yes. I answered it. I would say I can understand that this is a difficult decision to be made by the government, and there's no doubt about it. But there are different aspects of the problem to be balanced against each other, and I can understand that the government came to the view that all in all the costs for the Irish people, for the stability of the banking system, for the confidence in the banking system of taking certain action in this respect, which you are mentioning, could likely have been much bigger than the benefits for the taxpayer, which of course would have been there. So the financial sector would have been affected, the confidence of the financial sector would have been negatively affected, and I can understand that there was a difficult decision, but that the decision was taken in this direction.
Yeah, that doesn't address the issue. We are required to pay in respect of a defunct bank. There's no bearing on the welfare of the Irish people at all. We're required to pay in respect of this defunct bank billions on unguaranteed bonds in order to ensure the health of European banks. Now, what would you explain? How would you explain that situation to the taxi driver that you talked about earlier?
I think I have addressed the question.
No, you haven't addressed the question, because you've referred to the viability of the Irish financial institutions. This financial institution I'm talking about is defunct. It's over, it's finished. Now, why are the Irish people required, under threat from the ECB, why are the Irish people required to pay billions to unguaranteed bondholders under threat to the ECB? You didn't answer the question the last time, so maybe you'd answer it this time.
Well, I think he doesn't have anything to add to what he's already said.
This isn't good. This isn't good enough.
Sorry,
this isn't good enough. You people are intervening in this society, causing huge damage by requiring us to make payments not for the benefit of anybody in Ireland, but for the benefit of European financial institutions. Now, could you explain why the Irish people are inflicted with this burden?
Well, I think I have addressed the question.
You've nothing to say. There's no answer. Is that right? Is that it? No answer?
I have given an answer.
He's given an answer.
You have given an answer that doesn't address the question.
That's your view.
That is my view, and I think it would be the view of the taxi driver and the view of our viewers tonight.
Right. Can we please move on?
This little fucking grin, that stupid fucking German cunt.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we definitely watched that on the show before, but I'm like, we're going to put it in again because I just fucking love it. It's just one of the, like, the other thing that's amazing about that clip is it comes from The Tonight Show, which Kieran Cuddihy now hosts. Okay? It's the same show.
Yeah.
I'm going to now stick in what Kieran Cuddihy talked about last week.
A Nobel Peace Prize for Trump.
There was a clip for a second. So I was on Virgin Media tonight. The show was on last night, okay? And there was like a number of clips in relation to the budget. And I saw one and I was like, oh, that might actually be good. So I decided I would watch it because Cuddihy is yelling at some Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael saying like, so basically they're talking about cutting VAT for removing VAT for people building apartments, developers building apartments. So in theory, like you go like, if you go like,
That'll do
okay, supply is the issue, we need to increase the amount of supply, therefore we're going to remove VAT from I don't know how it fucking works, I don't care about business shit, you just know the thing where it's like, what we're going to do is we're going to give a bunch of public money to these developers, these rich people, and that they will then make the apartments.
Well, I suppose they're not making them, they're not giving them money, they're just not taking money on the sale.
But they were taking the hit, so effectively it's like we are giving them money. We're taking the hit,
you
know?
Yeah.
Like, these are decisions.
Well, not really, but
these are decisions that are being made by the money people. You know, they decide where the money.
Yes.
So they decide when the money comes in. They're like, okay, this is what VAT is, and they go, we're not going to take VAT. So that means that we have less money. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, okay, not really. Like, we're still losing, is what I'm saying. We may not be giving them the money, but we are losing the money. Okay. And it's also that they can build shitty apartments that nobody can afford. Okay.
Yeah, I know. When all this stuff in VAT, when they reduce the VAT, it's like whenever it's reported, it's like the implication is that, say you hear about like VAT being cut in restaurants, the implication is that the food will be cheaper for the customer.
Yeah.
That they'll pass the saving on.
Yeah.
But they don't have to do that.
Like, have we talked about this weird contradiction where it's like, because what you're saying when you say, okay, you don't have to pay VAT, the reason that these people are building the apartments is because they want to make profit, okay? So if we make it more enticing for them to make profit, then they're going to release they're going to make the houses for cheaper. They're going to have them be cheaper. How does that make sense? Do you know, you're acknowledging that all they want is money, and so then you're saying you don't have to pay as much to build these apartments. Why, if you know that all they want is money, do you think that the apartments are going to be cheaper? You know?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense on its face. So what happens is you have them on there, and I think it was Jack Chambers who's being yelled at by Cudahy, and the thing that they had chosen to highlight was Cudahy, like in the little quote they put in the tweet, was Cudahy saying, it's the definition of insanity to do something. Like, what was he say? He said something like people would have to be stupid to like believe you, basically. Okay. Let me look it up. He actually gets the quote entirely wrong. So, which is, obviously the quote is, it's the definition of insanity to do the same thing twice and expect different results. Okay. He says, it's the definition of stupidity to do the same thing twice. Where is it? I'm just trying to, I minimized the window and then Twitter just automatically. The definition of stupidity would be to believe what you were saying, says Cudahy to Jack Chambers. So I cracked open this straight away. I was, oh, brilliant. I'd love to see Jack Chambers be yelled at, you know? And basically what Cudahy says is like, well, we've been here before. You keep promising that we're turning a corner and that things are going to change. And then, you know, like, why should anybody believe you? And so what ends up saying is the definition of stupidity would be to believe what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't offer any sort of like pushback on, like, you could imagine if that were like Vincent Browne, given that question he asked, it would be something to the effect of like, you keep saying that supply will reduce prices. Why will it reduce prices when that has been proven to not be the case? But he will never ask that because he doesn't think that. You know, he thinks, well, obviously we all want more supply because then the prices will go down. It's like, what's the point of having this conversation? Like, the people who are asking the questions are so uninformed, but they know that they should be angry about it, so they're just yelling. So like, I think Sharon Neviolan was on RTE News, and she's like, well, you've managed to like make everybody mad today. She's interviewing Micheál Martin, you know. Businesses are upset and everybody's upset by this. And then he kind of, I think he says something like, well, we need to invest in our infrastructure for the AI generation, okay?
Yeah.
For the coming AI generation. But so what he's saying there is we need to invest in boosting our, like, making our water infrastructure better so we can give the water to data centers, okay?
Yeah.
But she would hear that and she would be like, what she's arguing with him over is that he's spending any money at all on infrastructure. Like, it's this idea of like, you got 9 billion and you're spending it on this. That's crazy. And it's like, okay, well, we need to do it because we need to pump water into data centers. You're like, yeah, but a lot of people would, it just, I know I feel stupid whenever I see the fucking budget But like, I also know that the people who are arguing against the government, not necessarily in the opposition benches, but definitely in mainstream media, when they're talking about it, it's like they're like a dog who senses their owner's outrage or something, and they're just getting excited on their behalf, but they don't know what the fuck is going on, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't either, but I'm not a pundit, and I don't have researchers who can do that stuff for me, you know? Like, and then the researchers that they hire are obviously going to affirm their class interests already. So basically, it's just, it's kind of, it's epitomized in this election where you have like a figure like Connolly, and an incredible interview last week with her on Claire Byrne having to answer for the Irrigee member, the former Irrigee member who served time in prison for a gun offence, being led into the Dáil, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
It's a real nothing story. But my mum said, she was telling me about it. So it was a very good interview. And I was like, I wasn't prepared to listen to it. But my mum said, like, Catherine Connolly just doesn't fit inside the paradigm of what they understand as a candidate to such a degree that their mind just, they cannot process what she is saying, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been so funny. So like, what ends up happening is like, the Irish media was finding every possible angle to keep this story in the news. Meanwhile, the Irish people are like, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about this. Do you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you've heard different. Like,
no, I think you're right when you say like they don't understand the what she's saying. Like, it's like, it's not even they disagree with it. It just fundamentally doesn't even make sense to, you know?
Because the bit with happened, they go like, they say like she was found guilty by the Special Criminal Court. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Catherine Connolly is kind of like, yeah, no, she was, but like, you know, she served her time, and you know, it's normal procedure, and she's like, the accusation against her was that she interfered in the process by insisting that this woman be employed for Garda vetting, like, you know, that they bypassed Garda, that the guards flagged her, and then
that they're saying the thing that you're doing, appeal.
Yeah, that she exactly, that she tried to appeal it, but she didn't try to appeal it. She was basically,
I thought she did appeal it.
No, she
that's
didn't.
Fine. All right. Like, even if she had appealed it, that's fine. Like, you're allowed to appeal these things.
What happened was, she had this person, she was recommended to her by Fianna Fáil, Eamon O'Queeve. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a project that went on for like 6 months or something. I think it was meant to go on longer. I can't remember what the process of it was. Yeah.
And then she was signing them in while Garda clearance was being evaluated.
Exactly. And then she sent an email to them going, is there any update on whether it should be cleared? Okay.
Yeah.
But apparently that's normal practice, that you can sign somebody in and out. It's just whether they get a pass so you don't have to sign them in and out. But like, she...
And like Paul Murphy was saying that as well. He was like, why do you ask anyone else if they were signing people in and out?
Yeah, no. And it's also mad that like, he was on Virgin Media tonight, on a previous night, talking about this, and you had Alison O'Connor, right-wing commentator from the Irish Times, James Geoghegan, founding member of Renewa, now Fine Gael TD, who famously ate shit in the Dublin Bay South by-election, and then you have who else?
Literally.
There was some, I think. Then you have Fianna Fáil Niall Collins. I believe he was on the panel as well. And Niall Collins was reported in the ditch for various property bullshit, where he had his name on numerous applications like Neil Collins, Niall Collins, Niall Collin.
Yeah.
And then also his wife was like a councillor who benefited from some social housing development. Or no, sorry.
Don't we all?
His time as a councillor, he used his position to benefit his wife, buying some land that was then later sold back. The council sold it to her, and then she sold it back to the council to make social housing on. I believe that was it. Okay. But anyway, so they're on the panel, and then you have Kieran Cuddihy, and then Paul Murphy basically says, you know, Garda clearance and Garda vetting is only between the applicant and the guards. So how did this information get leaked? And you can hear the audio yourself of 4 people, including the panelist and the host, all yelling at Paul Murphy at the same time, basically calling him a conspiracy theorist.
If someone applies for Garda vetting, that's a private matter. This woman, her name is public.
Would we
Sure,
be
her
better
name has
in
been
would we be
dragged-
better in ignorance?
dragged through the mud.
This is
Why-
always
can I ask-
always
can I
the
finish
refuge of the
question?
people who find themselves on.
And it's just like, it's just a phenomenal thing where it's like, I can't believe that, like, anyway. So what was it? So she's on Claire Byrne, and she says, no, I didn't intervene. I never heard from the guards. I put in a message to say this. And then Claire Byrne basically says, but this is a special criminal court that did this. And it seems at one point she's trying to say, like, it's very serious because it's a special criminal court. And then later on in the conversation, she somehow manages to, she tries to do something where she goes, so you're saying that you support the special criminal court because you accept their ruling? And Catherine Connolly basically goes, I don't really understand what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so she's saying, I am like an elected member of the Oireachtas. There's plenty of things that I don't agree with, but I have to abide by because they're the law of the land, okay?
Yeah.
I don't agree with the special criminal court, but I have to respect the verdict of the special criminal court. That's not support for the special criminal court. And then you hear like Claire Byrne like, you know, like it's like Homer's brain, just Simpsons gags the whole way down. Just like, I'm leaving, you know what I mean? Like, you can stay here, but I'm leaving.
Well, that's not the context for that clip. So
no, it's not. It's wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And also, I got a Simpsons reference wrong in the last episode.
It's more like
as well.
Homer. It's actually more like Homer saying, "Can you repeat the things?" You know, the things.
There was another great bit where like Catherine Connolly did this as well. She's like, and I was listening to your program. She was like, so they go like, do you agree with what this person did, having a gun, you know? And then she goes, I abhor political violence, but the other thing I abhor is hypocrisy. And yesterday on this show, you talked about rehabilitation and the importance. Apparently, Claire Byrne had a program the day before, saying that, talking about how difficult it was for prisoners to rehabilitate, you know?
Yeah.
And then she's like, why did you give this woman, as a woman who'd served her time and was released on good behavior? Like,
yeah. I've seen this talking point come out now. It's amazing with all the stories with Catherine Connolly, how like, I think people have been very, like, Connolly herself, but also I think people around her and even just supporters have been very good at like, arguing the points. So like, you know, one of the big ones was like, she didn't applaud Zelensky when he came.
Yeah.
And now that's, obviously she did. And then there's a video of that. And now that point has morphed into like, she was very unenthusiastic or she was very disrespectful to Zelensky.
Yeah.
Like literally, you know. So I've seen this thing morph from like people online going, she hired a gun runner, to now, this is a member of a party that doesn't respect the foundations of the state.
Yeah.
And how can a presidential candidate hire someone that doesn't respect the Dáil?
Right.
Which is an extremely weak point.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's convinced.
No. I don't think people are even convinced themselves who are saying it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just can't let it go. But it is... I think she's like one of the few politicians as well. I didn't really call her off guard when Connolly was like, I listened to your program yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
She was like, I didn't think people listened to this like that.
Yeah,
I didn't think
yeah.
people remembered what was said.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if people did with this podcast. If someone was like, you contradicted yourself. I'd be like, what?
Yeah, yeah. It's another one on the Anya Lawler was doing like a debate on Sunday, and I caught the tail end of it. But at one point,
me too.
Heather Humphreys was like, she has never condemned Russia, and then Anya Lawler is about to move on, and then Catherine Connolly's like, don't move on. She just lied. Like, you know, she's like, no, but we have to continue on. She's like, no, because this is how this stuff continues. She's allowed to say that. There's something that's not true. And it just keeps like going around. And then Jim Gavin then jumped in. We have to get to him, but he was basically like, "Oh yeah, and you lied about, you know, it's about you saying that. It's funny that you should say that because it was actually you who was lying about me when you asked me the question on the Virgin Media debate about when did I think that Israel had completed its military objectives, and then Anya Lawler was like, but you did say that. I saw you say that." Like, even the host was like, how is that a lie? Because you did say that. You know?
Yeah. I loved Jim Gavin.
He's so good. R.I.P.
I know. Like, he just was... I was so happy that he was part of the debates. Like, part of it was bad because it added more confusion. You know what I mean? It took some of the focus away from Humphreys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do love moments like that where he's just like, and another thing. And then everyone's like, no, not like that. Like, no. Like in the last debate when he was just bumbling the whole time. And then the question was like, when's the last time you walked down O'Connell Street? And you just see in his head, he was like, finally a question I can
Locking
answer. Locking in. And he just tried to like milk that for all it was worth.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, it was like the Irish orals, you know, when you're finally get a question you can understand. And you try to turn the whole thing into that. It's like, well, during my summer holidays, I went to the beach, you know.
I have two brothers who went with me to the beach. We loved playing football. We did not love playing.
And next summer, you know, getting the future tense in it. And that's just what he was like. He was like, and I walked down O'Connell Street, but I came from Mountjoy Square.
Yeah.
And I met people there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is so funny to be like, and you call me a liar, and then the host be like, no, you didn't. You said that.
And then they
the host was clearly on your side, by the way.
Oh my gosh. You know? Yeah. Like they were all gunning for they asked like the craziest questions for because it was so weird to hear because you know, I only caught the tail end. I didn't catch the whole thing. But Anya Lawler goes like she asks about Russian aggression, okay?
Yeah.
And she was like, are you going to acknowledge that Russia is this like aggressor, you know? And obviously Humphreys and Gavin were like, yes, obviously Putin, Hitler is taking over Europe, okay? And then Connolly is trying to be like, I just think that the question is problematic, okay? We shouldn't be talking about it in these terms. We should be trying for peace. We shouldn't be trying, oh, she's evading. She's not answering the question.
Yeah.
She's not doing... And it's because like you're asking the question is like, yeah, isn't Russia bad? And shouldn't we like boost our defense spending so that we can join the fight? And you're just kind of like... Because that's what's implied by that question.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it's perfectly justified to refuse answering it. And then I was thinking in my head, like the next question then they started talking about was, I think it's because she sort of pivoted to talking about it. But she was like, you know, whether it's Russia or whether it's Israel, you know, we need to have this.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Gavin was like. Gavin was like, no. We're not talking about Israel. We're not talking about. And then Anya Lawler was like, well, we'll talk about Gaza now. We'll talk about Gaza now. And then their faces are kind of like, suddenly they're being asked about Israel. And it's like, well, we want the hostages to be released and for like peace negotiations and a ceasefire.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I was like here, like washing the dishes going like, well, why the fuck can't you do that with Russia? And then Catherine Connolly goes like, and why can't we do that with Russia? I was like, oh my God, isn't it amazing to hear that? Like that these guys have no nuance when it comes to Russia. And then all of a sudden oodles of nuance when it comes to fucking Gaza. Crazy. It was so funny.
Like it's the one thing that genuinely makes me doubt reality. How like people just seem to have gotten their attitudes towards those two things reversed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because with NATO and Russia, it's clearly like they're both involved. You know what I mean? And like, that's something where I think it is useful to understand that they've been like taking shots at each other and like waging this ongoing brinksmanship for like decades.
Yeah.
And then with Israel and Gaza and Palestine, it's just so like not that.
No.
Like it's just so straightforward.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Israel are evil in this. You know?
It's amazingly simple. It's like a bunch of people were living somewhere. Some people were like, no, you're not. And then they put them into a prison that they bomb periodically and have now done an aggressive bombing campaign for the past 2 years that's resulted in 250,000 plus people dying.
Yeah.
Predominantly children, okay?
And they're just like focusing on October 7th as if it's like a unique starting point, you know?
Yeah.
It's just so reversed the way they have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they're like, oh no, Israel or Russia are just evil for no reason. And Israel's nuanced. It's just, no,
Yeah,
it's
it
the
was
other way
tough
around.
because you have to think of the history. You have to think about what led to this. I was like, well, no, I don't, because you don't care what led to Putin. You don't care what led to anything with Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah. It was amazing seeing how quickly Jim pieced out.
Wild. I'm sort of just like flummoxed by it.
Peace. See ya in the future. Like it was just.
I was talking about this with Enda, and we were talking about like, so like Micheál Martin was desperate to get some sort of celebrity candidate. Like he got some. I think he's like one of his advisors was like a former editor for The Sun or something in the UK, and he started doing like weird tabloidy shit. But then the one thing that it feels really tabloidy is trying to get celebrity candidates. But the weird thing is they just keep fucking up with the celebrity candidates, and then they're like, but we're going to do it again. Okay.
Yeah. And I was talking to, Matthew Tallon.
Yeah.
He made a good point where he's like, if you want a celebrity candidate, you don't go for someone like Kwon Shoga. You go for like Ronan Keating.
Yeah.
Like you just go all out and just be like, this guy from the TV who sings?
Yeah.
He's president. And people will be like, oh, that's cool. Whereas if it's like someone's just half and half, or like, it's just confusing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like also, none of these people were like even, I think honestly, Fianna Fáil voters, what little you could say that's positive, I think even they wouldn't even respond to that. I think that they're like, I like my politicians to be politicians. I don't like them to not be politicians.
I think if I choose a celebrity, I choose one of the people from Bewitched.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know why. I think that would work. I'm not saying it would work with the Fianna Fáil fan base. You're probably right. They want I'm talking about the nation.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Sorry. No, that's fair. For a celebrity candidate to be president, you got to have more than Jim Gavin. You have to have, like they were talking about running like Fintan O'Toole. Like I know Fintan O'Toole isn't a big celebrity, but he's adjacent to politics. Or like fucking Bono or McGregor or whoever,
They shouldn't be adjacent to politics. They need to be just pure spectacle,
Yeah.
That's what Trump was. That's what some of the other ones are, probably.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are the other ones? The other, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Excuse
me?
You
know what I mean?
What'd you say? Yeah. I love that Muhammad Ali clip. I won't put it in again, though. I put it in before.
I didn't say that. I like the host acting up.
Oh, I didn't say that.
You said that. I didn't say that.
Back when chat shows were good,
Yeah. Have
you showed me that? You showed me that incredible one with the Dick Cavett show where like Eddie Murphy's uncle was on it.
Oh yeah, that one. There's another Dick Cavett one. So that one's good, and I've said it before, I think, on the show. But Eddie Murphy and Dick Cavett were like great friends.
Yeah.
And they'd be going out in the piss together and stuff like that. And then there's one, and they're having a bit of crack in the show, and then Dick Cavett keeps saying the N-word. And like he just keeps saying it, and Eddie Murphy's like, what? And it's clearly a bit that they have.
Yeah.
But Eddie Murphy is thinking like, I can't endorse this on TV. Like, I'm not letting this fella do this on TV. So he's just like, what are you talking about, man? And the camera keeps saying it. And it's like... the Eddie Murphy clip is great. With the uncle.
Yeah, it's so funny. But I was going to say about the danger of a celebrity candidate. I was saying, let's imagine if Billy Kelleher was nominated and then he's in the polls or he suffers some sort of scandal or whatever. Because he's a politician, he's going to be gracefully going down with the ship. But because Jim Gavin is a celebrity candidate, it means that he's like, I don't have to put up with this shit. I'm not going back to some sort of public office. The party isn't my life. They approached me to be a Fine Gael MEP. Okay, like I don't need to do this. So he just goes like, I'm gone.
I'd say the relief he felt was crazy. You know, just like I'd say he's still waking up every morning, being like, I don't have to do another debate. I don't have to do that. It's like when you wake up after the leaving cert and you're like, I don't have to go to school. I don't have to study today.
Imagine all of these analogies or comparisons with Jim Gavin, they're all student based, as in he's like basically like a teenager. Like somehow he's a teenager because in like a 60-year-old, but how old is he? He looks like shit. Like honestly, because once you find out, like I saw footage of him from 10 years ago and I was like, man, you look so much better. You look awful now. You look wretched.
What age is he? Let me look it up.
But the other thing is that there's a politicking that sort of goes on where you sort of say like the government of the day, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, okay? We obviously want a government candidate to win over Catherine Connolly. You'd think, okay? So Jim Gavin staying in the race means that his transfers are going to go to Heather Humphreys. So I was like, oh, he's going to stick in there to the bitter end. And then he's fucking gone. So now it's a head-to-head contest between Heather Humphreys and Catherine Connolly. It was like, now it's actually like it's going to be to Connolly's favor, basically. I'm not to say that she doesn't have a fight still ahead of her, given all fucking guns are on her, you know? But it was crazy that he just dropped out, and especially because he allegedly dropped out because of the tenant thing. Because you're kind of like, I was like, if Fianna Fáil, like most of the people, like the way that you see it, like where they go, yeah, he just stole $3,000 off of his tenant, and then he just didn't give it back and didn't respond to his emails. And the amount of people you've seen who are like, oh, whom amongst us? Genuinely, these people are like, Fionn Sheehan was the one who broke the story, and then Jim Gavin dropped out, and he's on Virgin Media, and you think like, you as a journalist who's gotten your very first scalp, Fionn, well done, you know? And you think he'd be on TV taking a victory lap, and instead he's going, I feel bad for Jim Gavin. Why do you feel bad for Jim Gavin?
I notice a lot of people feel bad for him.
Why?
Like, even people who hate him are like, oh, I think it's just because he's so feckless. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel it, but I think I think the sympathy that's coming out for people is like, he literally, like, everyone's been in a job interview that's gone badly. And like, with Jim Gavin, you were watching that happen. And like, obviously, I'm glad it went bad, and I'm glad he had an awful time. But I think for a lot of people, they're having that visceral response of like, you know, I don't agree, but I think that's. But
But the fact is that they find it relatable. Like, I think they find his scandal that he dropped out for sort of relatable. Like, there's some sort, because he says like, I was very stressed at the time, and they have this thing of like, again, the negative equity, the worst thing that has ever happened on this fucking island, the thing that means that you or I will never be able to own a house, is because these guys felt the pinch in post-recession, and that's why house prices can never ever go down ever again. Okay.
Yeah. Like, he's the ultimate scumbag landlord. Like, $3,500 He just stopped answering emails, stopped responding. And then there was a thing that came out yesterday, and it was like the tenant, whoever this tenant is, rules. And it's like, because they came out and they were like, and I still haven't heard from him.
Well, he actually appeared on a podcast this morning because the other thing about the tenant, I don't know if you know this, he's the deputy editor in the Sunday World.
Wow.
So they knew this, and they still chose him as a candidate. And the thing about it is, if it were a tenant, it wouldn't matter. But the reason that the media are talking about it is because it's a fellow journalist. And you don't do that to fucking fellow journalists. But also, I didn't want to take the poor guy out either. I wanted him to stay in the race, but you don't do journalists like that. What?
Oh, right.
He didn't say that. I'll read out what he said, which is very funny. Although he even expressed sympathy for Jim Gavin, which I was like, man, he fucking took $3,000 from you. What's wrong with you people?
You have to do that. If you're thinking, that's like false humility or whatever. You know what I mean?
But
you like completely annihilate someone's life, and then you go, I didn't mean to do all that. You know, it's just the way.
He didn't annihilate him. He's going to go back to whatever job. He'll get on whatever board. He'll just go back to the way his life was before. And the thing is, they go, oh, they threw Jim Gavin under the bus. I was like, how? Did they tell him that running for president was really easy? And did he believe them? It sounds like he's an idiot. Like, people keep looking at him and...
You know, he's has an IQ of like...
whatever is low in IQ. I don't know anything about IQs. But, so Niall Donald is... Yeah.
He's the same IQ as Mayo scored in the last...
Leave furiously typing. Just... So Sunday World's Crime World podcast has confirmed, this is the co-host, Niall Donald confirmed that he was the tenant involved in the dispute, okay? Speaking on the podcast this morning, Donald said everybody that has worked with him would have known my history with Jim Gavin, and those outside of journalism would also have known about the matter. I really like this comment because this is, again, a very Irishman comment. Every time Dublin won an All-Ireland or whatever, people would say, there's your mate, Jim Gavin. It's just known that this guy took $3,000 off him. He said he rented the apartment in Smithfield from 2007 to 2009 and cancelled one of the rental standing orders when he moved out, but did not cancel a second one. After contacting Gavin, he said, as far as I remember, he certainly said, I'll look into it or whatever. Obviously, you wait and you expect him to get back to you, and it didn't happen. I phoned him a couple of times. He didn't get back. Sent him emails, sent him text. Donald said he tried contacting Gavin for weeks but received no answer. He also emailed the Defence Forces. 3 months passed when he went to speak to his solicitor and approached the Private Residential Tenancies Board when he discussed Gavin wasn't registered with them. So he wasn't registered. He said he gave a solicitor's letter to Gavin's parents and received a phone call from that night. Yeah, exactly. He said... So he got a call from Jim Gavin that night. He was angry that I'd called to his parents' house, which I can understand. He said after he calmed down, Gavin accepted he owed him the money and said he would send it to him, but then it never arrived.
That reminds me, there was this clip got around a few years ago, and it's some guys in London, and one guy sent a stranger like 100 quid or something like that by accident. You know, he's like typed in the wrong number. And the guy said, he's like, hey man, sent money to you by accident, will you send it back? And the guy sent him a message going like, hey man, I feel for you. You know, that's too bad, but like now you're asking me to do a lot of work. You know, and I'm not to blame, so I feel for you making a mistake, but it's not my responsibility to do all this work. It's like such an incredibly bullshit. It's like, it's not a lot of work to send it back. It's like press a few buttons on your phone. But he's like, sorry man, I feel for you. Gavin is just as a bag of that.
He also said at one point, he said that it was, I don't know if it was Micheál Martin who said it in support of Jim Gavin, but he said like that the thing was in, I think he said the deep recesses of his mind, and I was like, oh, the deep recesses, the vast, limitless, the ocean that is Jim Gavin's mind, teeming with life.
Jim Gavin's brain, Jim Evans' brain is perfectly smooth, except for like one hole that goes right through it, and the rental thing is down there. It's just he focused so hard on forgetting that it like altered the shape of his brain.
I also don't believe that. I think that basically he was like fed up of campaigning, so that's why. But there's a lot of people who are saying it's this story that knocked him out. I was like, no, it's his decision. He decided, you know what, this is too much fucking hassle. I guess I don't want to be president that badly.
Yeah, I mean, he did so badly in both debates, and then this came out. So I'd say it was like he was definitely thinking, I'm not even good at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, so I'm just gonna leave. They hate me. I'm not good, and now this. I'm leaving.
I loved it. Did you see that pic? Did I send you that picture of Micheál Martin and Bertie Ahern show up at a funeral in Tipperary? That was
so funny.
My favorite thing in the world. I loved it. Where
That's the end of the free bit. Go to patreon.com/CelticLigers for the rest, where the Ligers talk about Fianna Fáil in turmoil, the Gaza flotilla kidnapped, Ireland's lack of response, Mater Hospital Chair David Begg resigns for not showing enough obsequiousness to Jennifer Carol MacNeill.